Monochromatic, one color plus its tints and shades. Pablo Picasso painted this in monochromatic blue. He did this to give the painting a feeling or mood. How does the color affect the painting? After you have drawn 3 to 5 shapes, choose your best shape. Draw it on a piece of cardstock. Carefully cut the shape out. Trace it on final copy paper 5 to 7 times. Be sure to overlap the shapes. This is an example using the shell shape. Choose a medium that you were successful in creating values with. Add values to each of the shapes. You can use a neutral color to add extras to the shape. I use brown to put the stem on the pumpkins. So once you have painted your monochromatic shapes, you're going to paint a complementary color for the background. You're ready to outline your design with calligraphy. You're going to use an ink, and you want to keep your ink in the tray with a paper towel. That way if it spills, it stays in one place. You're going to take a calligraphy pen. Your pen might only be a handle. So what you do is you take the nib, that's the tip, take the nib and you put it in the handle like this. Okay, you push it in and you're ready. You will see the nib has a little flap. That's where the ink will collect, the reservoir for it to collect. When you dip it, you only want to dip it in this deep. So dip it in the ink, and you might want to test it out on a piece of paper. You will see that to do calligraphy, you are usually pulling on a diagonal, okay? You can't go forward. That means you can't go up. You go down and down for your shapes. And this ink is not very dark, so I might have to see about refilling it. I would like my ink darker. Also, if you notice, the tip of this is flat. They come in different tips. See, this one is pointy, and it doesn't even have a reservoir on it like the other one. This is just a flat, like a quill pen. This is the type of tip that would have been on the pens that are used with feathers that we see, like George Washington signing the Declaration of Independence. There is also another tip that is a little bit flat on the end. See that one? It's a little bit flat. You're welcome to test them out. See which one you like to work with, what kind of a line you get from the different ones. See, this one comes out a little different. Certain ones will work better in your hand. Try them out, and when you're ready, then you're going to go on to outlining and designing your project. You may notice sometimes that there's a eyedropper on the cap. You don't want to use that. You want to leave the cap right on the lid. This was to fill up specialty pens. So once you have tried out all of your pens, and you'll notice that this one gives you a very thin line, choose which one you want to use, because now you have experimented with them, and it's time to go final copy. So go to your project, and just remember that if you make a mistake, you have to work around it, all right? And so now I'm going to go over my pencil lines with my ink. Also, you can decide, are you going to draw the outline of both where they overlap, or just the half that shows the foreground? That's up to you. You'll have to work carefully, because if you put your hand in it or lean on it, you'll smear it. So you'll want to move the paper. I've decided that I'm going to go over all my lines. I'm also going to look at my drawing of my pumpkin. I chose a pumpkin for this one, and I'm going to add some of the details from my pumpkins as well. So when I do this pumpkin, I'm going to draw the contour lines of my pumpkin. So when I saw my pumpkin, the lines of the pumpkin were curved around the pumpkin. like that. So you get a little bit of a drawing and then you have to dip it. When you take it out, you might want to just wipe the edge on the side of the bottle. I try not to fill the bottles up too much. That way only the tip of your nib gets into the ink, which is perfect. If the bottle is too full, you'll get too much ink on your nib and then you'll end up with air pockets and it will block. So you're going to go around, take some time, outline all of your objects, your shapes with the pen. And this is hand drawn with a dipping pen. So sometimes you get thin lines, sometimes you might get a blob. That's okay. It's part of the art of doing it with a dipping pen. Think about it while you're working with this. Do you like this type of a pen? Or would you rather the pen like a ballpoint pen where the ink is always coming? You don't have to dip it and wipe it. And it's a steady flow. Or a felt pen. Felt pens, the challenge with that on this material is it would probably ruin the tip and suck up all of the color. Don't go too fast. Remember the contour of the shape. You want to stick with that. This is like the final details. You don't want to ruin all the work you've done. Sometimes you have to look at your pattern again to remember what it looks like. Remember, with this type of a pen, you can only pull your lines, no going forward or you'll dig a hole in it. Okay, so I'm going to finish doing this, then I'm ready to mount it. That means glue it to another piece of paper for display. And I'm going to label it and complete the label. Do you want your background to be plain or do you want to put designs in it? I don't know. I think I kind of like my pumpkins floating, but it's up to you if you want to draw something in the background like a design. Don't draw too much because it will distract from your great monochromatic painting. I look forward to seeing what you create. I used watercolor paint to create the pumpkins. Color pencil was used to create the seashells. Be sure to put your first name, last name, and room number on the back of your finished artwork.